Aloha, scooterheads. Dagwood Streets here, your humble host. Some countries don't pronounce their H at the beginning of a word, so why don't I start doing that too? Well, because it's stupid. Let's start the episode off with a retraction. I made a mistake during the last episode when I mentioned Tim West. I believe I said he's from Vancouver. But Canada has two Vancouvers. There is Vancouver Island, and there is the city of Vancouver. I did not clearly make that distinction, and it's a little complicated, to be honest. I think a lot of Americans make the same mistake. Here's what Tim said. He actually lives in Victoria, British Columbia, which is an island off the coast of Canada. What's the name of that island? Vancouver Island, which is not the same as the city of Vancouver, which is not on that island. It's on the mainland. So excuse me for being confused, but probably a lot of other people besides me are confused. And not all Americans, according to Tim, even Canadians get confused. This episode is part 2. Part 1, we listened to a couple folks being interviewed by the Electric Scooter Guide, folks from Apollo, talking about the new Apollo Pro, which is a quote-unquote hyper scooter. And again, I kind of play devil's advocate. You ever seen a movie where there's a little angel on one shoulder, a little devil on the other? I'm the devil. But I also present all the positive sides, including the keynote where the CEO gives his explanation and introduction to this new groundbreaking scooter, which I'm not saying is a bad scooter. There's just some weird things on it that I do not understand. The drama was built up in part 1 to get to the two main areas of contention that I have. Those are that there is no display on this new Apollo Pro Hyper scooter. You have to use your phone, which for me, where I live in a hot area, Las Vegas, it's simply a no-go. It just can't happen. So my question is, how well can you ride the scooter without putting your cell phone up there? Because 3 or 5 minutes, an iPhone getting beat by the desert sun in Las Vegas, a little thermometer pops up and says, you can no longer use your phone. Let it cool off. And you have to put it in a freezer or, temporarily a refrigerator, or just get it out of the heat. That situation would be no bueno, particularly if you crash. How are you going to call 911? And also, if it does work perfectly, let's say you live up on Vancouver Island, for example, and you crash. Is your phone more likely to survive in your pocket or a back pocket or on the handlebars? I would contend that the handlebars is just not a great place to put your phone. And what if you're getting incoming calls and then so you don't get to use your display for those periods of time? If you're getting incoming texts, if other things are happening on your phone, you walk into a store, forget to take your phone off of your scooter. There's just a million things that I don't like about this. I could really go on and on, but fundamentally, if you live in a hot area, this is just a scooter that you cannot entertain purchasing unless it rides fine and you can do everything without a display. And that may be the case. I don't know. It's not been released yet. The second bone of contention I have is the Rgb Tail Light, which in Apollo's own words, sucks up a ridiculous amount of power. I don't know how to measure ridiculousness, but if the company that is selling this scooter and distributing it thinks it's a ridiculous amount of power, I don't know. I think an LED would be the way to go. But then you would lose some functionality if you went LED, because by going RGB, it helps you tell how much battery power you have left if you're not using your telephone as a display. So for a high-end $3,600 scooter, not all of this makes complete sense to me. It could be wonderful. I love its 12-inch tires, and they call them self-healing. All that stuff is fantastic. There are great things about it, but then just these epic failures from my point. And again, it's not even released. I haven't even laid eyes on it, much less ridden it. So I could be totally off here. Don't listen to me. Well, listen to me, but don't take everything I say as etched in concrete. Also on the show, we're going to talk a little bit about Ginger on Wheels. He had a live chat, which I'm not a fan of most of those. Electric Scooter Guide does a great one. But for the most part, I'm not a huge fan of those. There's a lot of downtime, a lot of nothing time. But I was really interested in Ginger on Wheels live chat that he did. I just thought it was amazing. It was really, really good, and it's something I'd like to participate in the future, and I encourage everyone to participate in. He had some interesting subjects, and he had great answers. People could just ask him any question about anything, and he just off the cuff was able to respond, and I think there's a lot of value in that. And I encourage scooter heads listening to this podcast to go to Ginger on Wheels' webpage, to go to his YouTube channel, find out when his next live chat is. And I just did it on my phone, which was fine. In fact, why don't we just do our little Ginger on Wheels section before we even get to the Apollo Pro. As I was saying earlier, I own a bunch of scooters, a quiver of scooters. But I'm into scooter lifestyle. If you want actual knowledge, if Ginger on Wheels says one thing and I say another, my advice to you is to listen to Ginger on Wheels. Of course, probably I would say 99% of the time we're going to be in complete agreement. But you've heard me talk about solid tires versus pneumatic tires, and the Electric Scooter Guide would say the same thing. But to give you an example of the kind of questions or statements you get in a live chat with Ginger on Wheels, let's start out with the question of solid tires. And a listener, Scooterhead, said that they liked solid tires and they didn't like pneumatic tires. Here's Ginger's response.
Pneumatic tires are garbage as well. No. Solid tires are garbage. If you want any sort of grip at speeds, you need pneumatic tires. It's just a fact. I mean, in theory, if you had a solid rubber tire, it would do good. But all these tires on these scooters are actually nylon. And when you have a solid nylon tire, they do not stick well in wet or even moist or moss.
Good knowledge there. Nylon. I was not aware that the solid tires were made of nylon. Just an example of the kind of scooter gold you're going to hear if you follow Ginger on Wheels. Next, I'd been saying steering dampener for a long time. I ride motorcycles, and one of my motorcycles is a sport bike, and it has a steering damper. But I think actually it was a phone conversation with him. He corrected me, and I had to look it up. I'm an English major. I should know English. Dampener seemed like it would make more sense to me because you're dampening something, right? But apparently it is steering damper. A steering damper probably should be called a steering stabilizer because what it does is it lowers the side effects of quick changes in direction and high speed. It can help reduce arm fatigue, controlling the handlebars, and help you handle a little bit better over uneven surfaces or sandy, gravelly type surfaces.
Would you comment on the use of steering dampers? I personally don't need them. I have enough miles on scooters and experience that I can get rid of wobbles when I get them, and I generally don't get them. But this scooter back here, the Fedico Lightspeed Night, weighs 265 pounds, has 10,000 watts of power, and similar geometry to a Dualtron. And I do occasionally get a little bit of wobbling on that, or like vibrating at high speeds. All I can say is just put a little bit of pull on the handlebars and put most of your weight towards the back of the scooter on your rear foot, and you won't get wobbles. But for someone who doesn't really want to, ride in the super racer stance and you just want a nice solid scooter that doesn't have wobbles, get a damper. It affects your ability to make tight corners and stuff, but at high speed, if you're consistently traveling above 25 miles an hour, it's a good peace of mind to have a damper on there. But they are expensive. The Öhlins damper that comes with the turbo wheel Phaeton is like $500 if you buy it by itself.
What? Wait a minute. How much again?
The Öhlins damper that comes with the turbo wheel Phaeton is like $500 if you buy it by itself.
Now, Öhlins makes quality dampers, to be sure, but $500 you could buy some decent scooters, brand new.
But that is a really nice damper.
Well, for $500, I would hope it is a very good damper. Ginger is talking about putting out a product on his own with his own label, and I'm all for that. I'll be the first in line to buy it. You're going to be a little surprised maybe at the name. It's called Ginger Goo, and I'll leave alternative meanings to your imagination. But this goo that we put inside of tires, commonly called slime, it's expensive. According to Ginger, it doesn't always work right, so he's working on a formulation to make his own product. I will buy it because if he says it's good, I believe it's good.
I've never had good experience with slime or tire sealants before. I've tried to use it like 3 or 4 times on my scooters, and it always just leaks out and makes a big mess. Last Saturday, on the Seattle Saturday night ride, there was a girl riding a VSET 10 Plus that got a flat rear tire. I had some sealant and a tire pump in my backpack, and just for the heck of it, so she wouldn't have to Uber home, we tried to seal the tire with slime, and it worked. It actually was holding air, and she rode all the way back to the starting point. So it's definitely worth keeping something like any sort of tire sealant in your pack. The Armadillo stuff is pretty expensive. Slime is a little bit cheaper. I'm trying to make my own tire sealant right now. I'm going to call it Ginger Goo. Yeah, I've got some bottles of sealant here. I'm going to make a video where I test these and see if they work. And if they do work, I'm going to buy them in bulk and then sell them for cheap so we don't have to keep spending so much money on sealant. Self-healing tires are about as real as Wolverine is real. Facts. Facts, facts, facts. I have some people who preach about the self-healing tires. Like one guy on the ride, a Saturday night ride, claimed that he got a nail in his tire and then he pulled the nail out and magically was still holding air. Could be true. I don't know.
I'm with Ginger on this. However, if you look at the Electric Scooter Guide's review of the new Apollo tires, which they call self-healing tires, they roll over nails and they seem to keep going, and they said they went for at least a couple days. So, who knows? Has yet to be seen. It's fantastic if it's true. Maybe it is. And with that, let's get to the Apollo Pro Hyper Scooter. This is Chase from the Electric Scooter Guide interviewing Apollo representatives in a bar in Amsterdam. I don't know this guy Chase, but he's got to be a smart character. He asks excellent questions. First off, he's a very good interviewer. But to finagle, yeah, I'll interview Apollo, but can we do it in Amsterdam? And in a bar in Amsterdam? Come on. Chase for president. I'm with this guy. If I managed to get that deal, I'd be pretty proud of myself.
Another question I had was to kind of talk about the whole display versus phone situation, because there's a lot of companies, and you invest a lot with a display, and there's all sorts of, you can make the scooter intelligent, or you can make it intelligent through the gateway of the smartphone. And so could you talk more to how you're thinking about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So
Yeah, that is a great question. Why no display on the scooter? Why do you spend so much money? You'll hear later on the rear light. And he even says it sucks up a ton of energy, this rear light. And all this money gets sunk into anti-theft. Just give us a display. Take that same money and put it into an awesome, cool display that you can see in bright sunlight. Please.
we are good at making display, and people saw it with the Phantom and the Phantom V3 even more.
I haven't seen the Phantom V3, but the display on the Phantom was terrible.
It's definitely, I think, the coolest display out there. And it's connected to the app and everything. So the reason why we decided for this one to not put any display, there's two reasons. The first one is, well, we saw bike company like Van Move, like you mentioned, and even Cowboy only using the phone as display, and people love it. It's like a great response from their community. So that was like confirming the idea at the start. And also, when you make a display like let's say on the Phantom, I guess the Phantom is a perfect example, because we launched the Phantom V1, then the Phantom V2, and the Phantom V3. They all have different displays, right? Every time you want to make a new display, you need to open tooling, you need to start testing as well, and there's always issues. It's not bright enough, it's not connecting to the app, you're not getting the correct reading from the motors. There's always something, and you cannot update those displays, because even if you're connected to Bluetooth, sure, you can change some settings to like change the wheel diameter to adjust the speed or things like that, but when you use a phone as a display, you can change the UI and the UX every year, right? So
to be clear, what I'm hearing is LCDs are difficult to make. We have made some really crappy ones in the past that people complained about. So on this vehicle, because it's a hassle for us and we can't get a good one, we are not putting a display on this $3,600 scooter. Now, we're going to put all kinds of money into a light that soaks up a ton of energy, steals from the battery, basically, and we're going to put GPS and all this anti-theft stuff. But we can't get it together enough to give you a decent display. So we are going to let you use your telephone instead. Now, what's wrong with that? Well, over the years, I've had a lot of different shaped telephones, some of them that probably would not fit into the cradle they have designed. Maybe it'll all work, and maybe it'll all be great. Living in Las Vegas, I cannot use my telephone as a display, period.
there's two benefits to that. It's you can keep the customer in the loop almost, right? Even if you buy it last year, you know that you're gonna get a new display / a new UI for your scooter. So a new dashboard, new functionalities as well. And the other thing is that, well, you can use all the sensors of the phone to enhance the experience of the scooter.
All right, then give me a display and the option to incorporate my cell phone via app as well.
So there's like crash detection, there's even the GPS. If you, again, like, for example, if you crash with the scooter, sure, you could detect that with like a simple accelerometer in the scooter, but if you use the phone, well, you can trigger multiple actions such as, okay, I crashed with the scooter, accelerometer pick that up, and it's gonna call my urgency contact, which is my mother.
So you have this horrible crash on your scooter. Is your phone gonna be more likely to be damaged beyond repair if it's on your handlebars or if it's in your pocket? I'd rather have my telephone in a backpack or my pocket if I crash, because I think it's more likely to be usable in case I need to call my emergency contact. Again, these are great ideas. I'm kind of like the little devil on the shoulder here. Apollo is being very progressive in their design. Don't let me take that away from them.
As cool as a Phantom V3 display is, it's never going to be as great as an iPhone 13 Pro. They're working so hard to make the best display in the world that it would be foolish not to use them. Some people is going to say, well, yeah, the phone can drop, or it's going to drain the battery of my phone. It's not really convenient. Well, there's a wireless charger built in the scooter, and it's a super fast one. It's better than anything we tried. It's better than what you have in a Tesla.
Name drop. I took a shot at tequila every time they said Tesla or Apple, and I got wasted.
What you have like on your desk, it's ridiculously strong. The other thing is that the phone holder that we have, again, you're going to sit in the video that we're going to make, that we compare every single prototype. It's great. Basically, we tried with the biggest case possible, and it still fits perfectly well, and it still charges as well, right? Because you think, okay, if I have an outer box, will the phone still charge, or I need to remove the phone to be able to fit it in the holder? No, you can keep your phone. You can have a card in the back of it, and it's still going to charge.
That's really interesting. So you're saying like through a case, and even people that put their, because like I put my cards on the back of the phone.
Great point. A lot of people have their phones inside of a little carrying case that they stuff all their credit cards and things like that in. I actually did that for many years. I no longer do.
And when asking that to customers, of course, you either put more of the cost of that $50, $100, whatever dollars going to cost to make that display into more power, more battery range, or something better on the scooter. So it was a pretty obvious choice for us. And just to be super clear as well, because lots of people at the conference were asking, you can use a scooter without your phone as well. So again, you can set up the settings and change the modes, but you don't actually need a phone to power and use a scooter as well.
The only instance that I think people is going to ask themselves, how am I going to check the battery of the scooter, let's say if I don't have a phone, right? Because there's no display, there's no nothing. We built an interaction with the light of the scooter, so all the lights are RGB.
And now we arrive at our second bone of contention after not having a display on the scooter, and that is at the rear of the Apollo Pro is a strip of light that is RGB, which stands for red, green, blue. LED, I think, is light emitting diode. I'm not a scientist, but I do have access to the internet, okay? An LED is going to be brighter and use less power. The advantage of RGB is that you can change colors, but it uses more than double the power. Isn't that something you're going to be concerned with on an electric scooter, where range and battery power is a major consideration?
But it's something better. It's COB light, which means there's no dot. Basically, it's one clean strip. We can do the same thing as regular RGB light, meaning that we can have a lot of color interaction. So let's say if you want to look for what is the level of the battery, press 3 times on the power button, and the light's going to change from green to yellow to orange to red, like the whole spectrum of color to show you how much battery you have. And you can lock the scooter as well with the button sequence that you can set in the app. So as Chris said, you don't need the phone to use it, but it's going to enhance your experience by a lot.
All right, now that is sort of an explanation. We are using a light on the rear of our scooter that sucks up more than double, according to the intrawebs, of a LED or light emitting diode, because we didn't give you a display. It's so that you can tell that you're getting ready to run out of battery. Is there irony in that? I think there is.
What's kind of like the short term and the medium term and the things you're really excited about long term?
The short term one, that is, well, they're all very exciting. The short term one is going to be the localization of your scooter in real time with the IoT, as I mentioned. So right now on the Pro we have a GPS chip. So basically you have a SIM card in the scooter and you are able to stream the position at all time. So that's the next one that I'm working on now. That's pretty exciting for obvious reason.
Well, the obvious reason to me is that the person who steals your scooter, when they realize it has this GPS on it and it's dead in the water and they can't use it, they're going to throw it off of a mountain or into a river. And that is money, again, going into the scooter that could have been used for a display. I can't believe that there is not a company in China, Singapore, Korea, United States, somewhere that makes a decent display that you can use in sunlight. I don't like this GPS chip and spending money on all this fancy high-tech stuff on a scooter that you should just bring into the store with you or bring into your classroom or bring into work with you. Don't leave your scooter outside somewhere where it even has the possibility of being stolen.
Basically, if someone steals your scooter, you're going to be able to go get it with the police. And
Not in America, where people are shooting in the streets. The police are not going to partner with you to track down where your electric scooter is. I'm sorry. Maybe Australia, England, Canada, other countries, that may be true. And maybe even parts of the United States, but I doubt it.
we built a ton of functionality within the app that you can almost talk to the thief with the speaker that is built in. You can stream the voice, so that's going to be pretty cool.
Now, I agree completely here. Being able to talk to the person who stole your scooter is going to be pretty cool. Hey, man, what are you doing with my scooter? I'm just taking it for a spin. Yeah, you want to give it back? I don't think so, man. You got me on GPS, right? Oh, yeah, I'm tracking you right now. Well, I'm going over a bridge right now that's over a river, so you can go and fish your scooter out anytime. And hey, maybe the police will join you and help you get your scooter out of the water. Maybe they'll fly a helicopter over and they can drop a hook and they can get scuba divers to hook that up to your scooter, and then they'll lift it back up to the helicopter. And since they're already in the air, maybe they'll just drop it off at your house. And once it dries off, I'm sure it'll be fine and you can be on your merry way. Wow. Thank you, Mr. Scooter Thief. That's an awesome idea. Hey, you have a great day. Yeah, you have a great day too. And thanks for the cell phone. That's a bonus I was not expecting.
Say I'm a thief. I've stolen an Apollo Pro. Okay, so I've got it. How am I getting communicated to, especially with the display being the way it is?
As I mentioned, I don't know who this guy is from the Electric Scooter Guide, but he's asking excellent questions.
Would it be that I start trying to connect to it with my phone and then I'm getting notifications saying, we know that this is stolen, you should return it, etc.?
Very, very loud alarm, but essentially the thief won't be able to do anything. It's pretty much useless hardware for him. So we'll always have that GPS signal inside of it.
You're the thief, you connect to the scooter, so you're going to see the scooter, Apollo 1 or whatever the name you're going to give to the scooter, and it's going to ask you for the PIN code of it. If you have the PIN code, then you're going to be able to unlock it.
Awesome. Another PIN code. I don't see any problems happening with that for the owner. But I will say it is better than a key.
If you don't have it, which you won't have it, it's going to remain locked, and then we're going to continue tracking you until we recover it.
So if I'm a thief, I mean, I've got this heavy scooter and it's screaming at me inside my apartment.
And you know the police is coming.
No, they're not.
You know,
so you're trying to lug this heavy thing that's dead out of the apartment and carry it as far away from your apartment as possible, I guess.
Exactly. That's going to motivate you to dump that scooter if you're a thief.
Yeah.
Even Teslas, I think it's something like 98% of Teslas always get found when stolen. It's because you can't do anything with the hardware itself if you don't have the software and you're not the verified user of the software.
Apollo, you are not Tesla.
So again, it's an added protection for the customer at the end of the day.
Yeah, so kind of some closing questions. I'm wondering what your personal favorite feature / either software, hardware, specific element, what's your personal favorite with Apollo Pro?
The regen, and talking to people this week at the Amsterdam show, I think a lot of companies still don't understand how critical it is. They are still going with a big hydraulic brake and no regen, and they say, well, it's useless because on an electric car you don't have two pedals.
I don't know about you scooter heads, but the very first thing I turn off in the P settings when I buy a new scooter is regen braking.
I think that's ridiculous.
He heard me.
You need regen, and once you try it, it's like, of course, like why like not all scooters have this. To give you an idea, nobody this weekend practically touched the drum brake during the test ride. There's hundreds of people that test ride the scooters. Everyone just intuitively use a regen.
It's entirely possible that their regen brakes are better than anything I've tried.
And it's great because it's such a big scooter. It's so powerful. When you see people not going to their instinct and just grab the brake handle and only use from the get-go the regen, you know it's intuitive.
Okay, let's get back to that RGB light that we talked about earlier, the non-LED. Now, I want you to hear in Apollo's own words about how it consumes power and what they think of it. I just don't get it. Somebody explain it to me.
You see the scooter, you say, okay, it's LED light. No, it's not. It's COB, as I mentioned before, and it's drawing so much current from the battery to a point that it's honestly ridiculous. We had to build a custom controller that's going to sit on top of our controller.
Now, that sounds like a smart idea, right? A light, non-LED, that sucks up, in their words, a ridiculous amount of power. And what is the advantage? Well, the advantage is you can use different colors, but they seem to say that they had to do that because they didn't have a display to let people know when their battery's getting low. I don't get it. I'm not an engineer, but I don't get it, scooter heads.
Just for the light with built-in heat sink.
It's an overall scooter, to be honest. It's a scooter made for the consumer. It's not a scooter made for a spec sheet. Very simply put, lots of people are coming back, oh my God, drum brakes.
People are saying, oh my God, drum brakes. You got a guy right here that's a huge fan of drum brakes. There are advantages. This is a good thing. This is not a bad thing. Drum brakes require way less maintenance. They're good if you're in sand. They're good if you're in water. And I think on this one, if they do it the same as the Apollo City Pro, you don't even need a tool to adjust them. There's a little wing nut looking thing that you can just adjust your brakes on the fly by hand. All right, this podcast is way over time. I just thought it was so interesting. And I don't want scooter heads to think I have an overall negative opinion of this groundbreaking scooter that honestly has a lot going for it. So I'm going to sum up real quick, but you won't end up with hearing me as the final opinion because I am going to play the CEO of Apollo's keynote speech. Here are the things I like. 12-inch tires that they're calling self-healing. They have some kind of gel in it. Hydraulic suspension on both wheels. I don't know about the regenerative braking. I have to wait and see how that turns out. I don't like it on any other scooter. The folding mechanism looks awesome. The overall look of the scooter is beefy. I like it. They keep comparing it to Macintosh and Tesla products. I would compare it to a Cadillac Escalade. It looks super comfortable, big, and beefy. And I would feel remiss if I didn't tell you that the part of the reason I'm on the fence about Apollo and their customer service and all this interaction, all this Tesla-like interaction, sending signals back and forth from your scooter to their headquarters in the Great White North, is that this is firsthand, okay? For you, it's secondhand. I personally have a friend who owned an Apollo Ghost, and he put 500 miles on it. The stem broke, and they told him to piss up a rope. And he is a YouTuber who comments on electric scooters and electric bicycles and things like that. Now, if they're going to tell him to take a flying piss at a rolling donut, what are they going to tell you and I when you have an issue with this scooter that has just a ton of high-tech features to it, just waiting to go wrong? You know, if you don't want a conventional LCD display on your scooter, maybe do something cool like other scooter companies I've seen where they integrate it into the handlebars and they make it super bright. You're very limited, your information, but hey, all I need to know is my speed and what gear I'm in, and perhaps how much battery I have left would be good to know. I don't need to chat with the guy who stole my scooter. And I don't need to send statistics back and forth to the company that sold it to me. I understand it's good for them. On my iPhone, I turn off that, send all this information back to Apple. I understand it helps make their products better. And I don't think they're spying on me because I'm going to the 7-Eleven to buy a 6-pack of malt liquor. I'm not one of those guys who's paranoid in that way. So having said all that, I am a fan of Apollo. I own an Apollo. I love that Apollo. I have scooters I like and don't like. The Apollo Explorer is a good basic scooter for getting around town. Big, wide deck, super comfortable. I love the direction Apollo is headed. I think they're a great company and they've got great things in their future. And now, here's their CEO. ESP is here for you, so drop an email to our crew. We might not know what to do, but Dagwood's here for you. That's dagwoodstreets@gmail.com. If you don't know what to do, Dagwood's here for you. Dagwood's here for you. Dagwood's here for you, scooterheads.
Good morning. My name is Mach, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Apollo. It's a privilege to be here among so many of micromobility's brightest minds. Today, I'm going to share with you how we're solving one of the greatest challenges of our generation. And in doing so, give you a glimpse into the future of both Apollo as well as the e-scooter industry. At Apollo, we're guided by the mission of making mobility better for all. We do this by making incredible scooters that don't look, feel, or ride like anything else on the market. And here are the slides for dramatic visual impact. So what we do at Apollo is, like I mentioned, we make scooters that don't look and feel like anything else on the market. But more importantly, we make them for riders who understand how you get there is just as important as where you're going. But we're based out of Montreal, Canada, and most of our business is in the US. So the question of how you get there is actually a pretty straightforward one. In fact, we drive for 85% of our daily trips, regardless of distance. 85%. That's wild. Especially here in Amsterdam, in Europe, that stat must just be absolutely horrifying. So when lightweight electric scooters first appeared, rather than taking cars off the roads, they actually ended up complementing existing commuters. This made us realize that in order to change these deeply rooted driving habits, we had to come up with a vehicle-grade scooter that could compete in a world built for cars. A truly connected, comfortable, charismatic vehicle that would make you ditch your pickup truck for an all-electric pick-me-up. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce to you today, for the first time ever, the all-new Apollo Pro. The Apollo Pro is our first hyperscooter built with 100% proprietary hardware and software. The Pro delivers what no other scooter in the industry can, a truly connected experience with record-breaking performance. The Pro earns its hyperscooter status with a top speed of 100 kilometers per hour and a 100-kilometer range. Powered by a proprietary M1 controller, it goes from 0 to 30 in just 2.9 seconds. But the M1 controller isn't just muscle, it's also the brain. That's right, it collects 22 data points per second, including GPS location, giving rise to a whole new array of vehicle-grade features like theft deterrence, collision avoidance, and even fall detection with emergency contact notifications. This is huge. It moves our riders from owning a scooter to owning the journey. And speaking of journeys, the Pro also marks the beginning of ours into unibody frame design. Made from a single cast, this frame offers incredible strength while creating room for innovative features like the 360-degree lighting system, one-click folding, and motorcycle-grade kickstand. However, with every hyper scooter comes hyper responsibility. The Pro is the first to distill regenerative braking technology from electric cars into a high-performance electric scooter. The regen brake is amazing because not only does it allow you to recharge the battery by up to 10% while riding, it also reduces the use of mechanical brakes by 90%. We pulled out all the stops when it comes to comfort on the Pro, featuring gigantic 12-inch self-healing tires, a massive deck surface area that's large enough for riders to keep their feet side by side while riding, as well as hydraulic suspension. We built the Pro to dominate on both streets and off-road trails alike. With a built-in phone holder and wireless charging, your phone is now a critical part of your journey, offering features like turn-by-turn navigation and countless personalization options, from changing the color of the lights, to adjusting the riding settings, to even playing music via the built-in Bluetooth speaker. The Pro is designed to put the rider in charge. However, with scooters as sleek as this, you may also attract some unwanted attention. For that reason, we're introducing Apollo Secure, a suite of software features dedicated to turn stealing the Pro into a problem. Firstly, the scooter will only lock and unlock when the owner's phone is within Bluetooth range. When the owner's phone isn't nearby and the Pro detects the slightest movement, the alarm will go off and the motors will lock. If not left in peace within 10 seconds, the owner's phone will be notified and the GPS location shared. From there, our team will coordinate with both the owner as well as local authorities to ensure a swift and prompt recovery of the stolen unit. But the Apollo app experience is so much more than dashboard and security features. It's also a one-stop shop solution for all of your support needs. In addition to introducing the Pro, we are introducing Apollo Care, the first dedicated suite of extended warranty and insurance products made by scooter manufacturers to scooter riders. Our customers in select US and Canadian cities will have the option of purchasing Apollo Care to get a total peace of mind that comes with extended warranty and theft protection. That means on-demand servicing in days rather than weeks. This is the first program of its kind designed to totally transform the electric scooter ownership experience. The Pro is also the second scooter we've built on the Apollo 2.0 platform. We've heard lots about vertical integration, and Apollo's no different. Years of investment in hardware, software, and support infrastructure have allowed us to dramatically increase control across the entire value chain, bringing us one step closer to achieving our goal of 500,000 active riders by 2025. But the Pro is just the beginning. We will continue to leverage the 2.0 platform by distilling the key features of the Pro into various form factor vehicles over the next 12 months. Each vehicle is designed to target a different audience, and of course to continue to take cars off the streets, while adding a bit of joy back into mobility one scooter at a time. The Pro sets a new benchmark for performance, features, as well as design in the electric scooter industry. It's on track to be delivered in Q1 of 2023, and we anticipate the pricing to start at $99 per month, or if you choose to buy it outright, it will cost you $3,599 US. Riders in select US and Canadian cities will also have the option of purchasing Apollo Care for total peace of mind protection. It will start at $19.99 per month, and we're working on adding new markets monthly and anticipate to be available in 20 cities by 2023. So, the reservation page went live at apolloscooters.co 5 minutes ago. With surging gas prices, now is the time to start thinking about trading in your car and heading over to our website where you can reserve one of these bad boys with a fully refundable $20 deposit. We are also the only individuals here at Apollo that have one of these scooters with us today. So the only existing functional sample is at this conference, and you'll be able to test it out just at the test track down the street here. Thank you all very much, and we hope to see you out there.
There you go, scooter heads. You heard it from the mouth of the CEO of Apollo. Why you should buy the Apollo Pro. You got the jack. You like it. It's not too hot where you live. You got 12-inch self-healing tires. You can ride it even without a cell phone. Oh, my. I have conflicting opinions about this scooter. But it's been a long podcast, way longer than normal. So let me just end with patronize your fellow scooter heads. Tim West has a great channel up there on the island of Vancouver. Ginger on Wheels got a great channel and a Amazon link that you can buy things he's tested and proven to be excellent products. The Electric Scooter Guide. You got RK9, you got Yogi Steve, who does an excellent reality YouTube channel called Electric Scooter Academy. It's about delivering food, alien rides, Ben Fox, so many guys out there that are outstanding. Patronize your fellow scooter heads. Help them out. Until next time, keep the shiny side up and the dirty side down.